All right, welcome back. Thank you for joining us on the RP Experience. I'm your host, Andrew Regenhard, and today we have Edgardo Balentine, one of our preferred partners. We are super excited to have you on here. He's been killing it on the game of online, and Edgardo is the producing branch manager at Neo Home Loans here in Naples, Florida. In an ever-changing, highly regulated industry of mortgage lending, he's been providing guidance to buyers and places and to them in the path towards home ownership. And we're super pumped to have you on here. He's been doing some cutting-edge things. He's been building a team, and so it's been super awesome to see his journey, and we're extremely thrilled to have you here. So welcome.
Thanks, man. Super excited to be here. And I said it off air. I want to say it on air. Congratulations for your engagement.
Oh,
You're definitely punching up, and I love it, man.
Appreciate
Congrats.
it. Yeah, it was a small gathering where just her and I, and it was a lot of fun though. A lot of nerves, I have to admit. If you see the video online, I was tearing up a little bit. It was a lot of nerves.
You're supposed to be scared, so that's great, man.
There you go. So, well, good. Well, we're gonna dive right in, get some knowledge flowing. But before we can spit some knowledge to everyone, get everyone up to speed on just who you are.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, my origin story of sorts, if you will. I'm originally from Colombia, South America, Colombia. I, spent some time in Colombia. We moved to France when I was very young, so I lived in France and in Colombia back and forth. I fell in love with baseball when I was in Colombia and then playing in France. So I got the scholarship to come to play baseball here in America. I got a scholarship and, I had the ability to make it to the pros, but I decided, no, I want to become a mortgage lender. No, I'm kidding.
Pro baseball.
Yeah, right.
Mortgage.
Mortgage. No, I graduated with a biology degree, and the whole plan was to go into some type of, becoming a doctor or the medical or something in that lane. And, by things of life, that semester couldn't start at the time that we needed it to start. So I had to wait a little longer. And I thought to myself, let me get into something that's going to create some skills for me in the future. My family, my parents made, really good money in their working years, but the way they're retiring is not the way that I think they should retire based on how much money they made throughout their years. So to me, that financial education was important. So I started working in a bank, and, in the bank as a banker, you don't really learn anything about financial education. So I jumped into either financial advising and mortgages, and I thought that mortgages was more, more blue collar. You could talk to everybody about a mortgage. Right. Everybody will come to you for that. So I picked mortgages, and I love it, man.
And when did you do that officially? You made that switch into mortgage?
So I was in the banking world about 6 years ago. Okay. And then that's where I moved to just doing mortgage lending.
Awesome. Yeah. You recently now with Neo Home Loans. You were with a company before. Get us up to speed on who Neo Home Loans is.
Yeah, man. Neo is the fastest growing mortgage company in America right now, and we believe that we're changing the industry.
Yeah, fastest? That's crazy.
Yeah. The when it comes to mortgages, the majority of the industry or all of the industry is thought to just focus on those 30 days when you're with the client, right?
Okay.
Make sure that you get them from point A to point B to close them, and then that's it. It's super transactional. Neo focuses on making sure that clients can be like successful homeowners, okay? How can we maximize this debt that you're taking? How can I, as your lender, can I manage that debt for you and make sure that you maximize it later on? And if you think about it, unfortunately, 99% of Americans don't talk to a financial advisor,
right?
But 99% of Americans at some point say, hey, maybe I should buy a house. So we, in a lot of times, if we're not the only financial professionals that talk to the clients, we might be one of the first ones that talk to the clients. So we have the ability to help the clients at a deeper level, and that's what Neo is focused on, and the tools and technology and all that. It's amazing, and the products are super aggressive. I hope we get to talk about the products too. So
of course,
it's cool, man.
Awesome. Well, it's exciting stuff. What when you say products, obviously it's very fast growing, and what I'm hearing is a little bit more client retention, right? Like in a sense, client focused, right? You're not just a transaction, like you said, you're focusing on the bigger picture. So what kind of products kind of goes into that, and what sets them apart there?
So we're talking about two different things, right? So when it comes to our clients, everybody talks about client for lives. I hate how that sounds, the whole client for life thing. Well, if all I'm doing is sending you a recipe for Thanksgiving and, saying happy birthday on your birthday, that's not clients for life, right? What's my commitment to you after that? So what we've established in what we call the Neo experience is we're able to really help clients with not just a mortgage annual review, but we do a financial review with our clients, right? If they have other arms when it comes to finances, if they have financial advisors, CPAs, things like that, we bring them in to that financial review when we do it with them. So we have somebody in the team that's fully in charge of that. I have somebody in the team that's in charge of all the post-closing clients. And it's not about selling them another mortgage, but it's really about providing them with, hey, every single month, for example, we have a report that we send to all of our clients. We get an 80% opening rate for the report that we send.
Huge.
That's huge. Where we tell them, hey, this is what a house like this is renting on an Airbnb. This is how much you could make if you were to rent this month to month. This is how much your full, assessment of the property is. This is how much you would save if you put extra money towards the principal. And we give them all of that on a month-to-month basis. We have an app, for example, that they are forever qualified, where I don't need to repull credit or anything like that. It works like Credit Karma, and it has all the boxes checked that they need to have in order to be able to buy another house. So I can have a very normal and good conversation with them about, hey, what are your plans in the future with buying, selling, refinancing? What do you want to do as far as investing without me having to go through the intrusive process of buying or, of putting credit and all of that. So,
interesting.
Yeah, and when it comes to the mortgage products, we're just aggressive, man. I mean, we have that loan where you can buy a house as long as you have the 30% or the 20% down and you don't need to show us income. We have a fix and flip loan right now with, if you have the 10% down and you give us a good project that makes sense for you to buy, fix, and then flip, we don't really care about the credit or income or anything like that. As long as the project makes sense, we can do it.
So you're saying 10% on a fix and flip, 10% of the actual initial buy, and then
including the renovations.
Ah.
So you can finance 90% of the purchase and the renovations. And if you're what's called an experienced investor, if you're done, I want to say about 6 in the past 3 years, that can go down to 7.5% down.
What?
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like we're very aggressive with the product, with the products and programs.
In financial world, right? Isn't that like, investing in the more aggressive stocks that are more risk, more reward? But hey, like you guys are aggressive in the sense of mortgage, right? Which is that's probably why you're the fastest growing, right? You think about, probably some of these bigger companies are like, that's a little too risky for our blood. Like we want to be safe, but hey, you guys are willing to do it. That's awesome.
Yeah,
and that's gonna set you apart there.
Yeah, it's exciting. And then, the amount of, the requirement that we have in the team, for example, like we all have the CMPS certification, which is a certified mortgage professional. And the idea behind it is we can get a little deeper when it comes to, tax benefits of purchasing right now and things like that. Obviously, we try to always include, the professionals in this. But we talk about these things, and we're very uniquely positioned to do that in a lot of times because we have all the documents for the clients. So that's what we're focusing on. And, in this market, we're focusing on, having those great programs and making sure that our offers get accepted.
I love it. Now, one of the things that definitely sets you apart, I know from experience, is you speak a couple different languages, right? Is it 3?
Yeah, 3, just 3. French, Spanish, and English.
I had someone else on that spoke like, multiple languages. I'm like, yep, and I just speak one. So I love it, though. It's pretty cool. Obviously, my girlfriend, I think you already know this, speaks Spanish, and we always go on trips or whatever, and she's able to help out. And I'm like, what would I do without you, right? Yeah. Oh, sorry, fiance. I said it wrong.
Fiance, that's
See?
right. Yeah.
There we go. I screwed it up already.
That's okay. You can edit that.
Edit it out, Kobe. There you go. Now, how has that been beneficial in the mortgage industry? I mean, we do have a pretty influential, cultures down here in Southwest Florida. So how's that impacted your business?
Yeah, so I don't get to use the French as much as I would like, but the Spanish has been super, not just useful, but very rewarding to me, right? As a whole, financial education is not something that's necessarily very taught here, in general, and especially to Hispanic communities. So the ability that I have to just talk to the clients where in a language that they feel comfortable with. Right. A lot of times they speak English, but they when we're talking about finances, they want to learn in their language. Is great. And then what we've done now is we've taken all the content that we've been putting out in English, and now we're repurposing and putting it in Spanish too. And that has been awesome, because I get a lot of people in the Hispanic community that are reaching out now that had no idea that they were able to buy a house, and now they're listening all of these things that we're saying, and they're like, oh my God, this is actually something that me and my kids will be able to do. So
I don't blame them.
Super rewarding.
I don't blame them, because you think about it like this, like when I hear it in English, right? And I hear, let's say, going to a hotel, for example, and they explain everything, and they're like, we're going to charge $400, but that's a credit, and then it's going to go back on your card. I understand it. I'm confident. We go to, if we're in Mexico, and Clarissa understands it, right? But I'm hearing it the same exact stuff.
Right.
But I don't almost like believe it, because I don't understand it, right? I'm not confident in it. So that's so, like, when you said it, I was like, at first I was kind of caught off guard, but that's so relevant, you know, because I'm not confident in that language, or they're not confident in our language, whatever it is. And that's so impactful. So that's awesome.
Yeah. And being able to, kind of like bring it down to a normal vocabulary. I mean, have you read a mortgage ever? It makes no sense. Like it's all these, it's clearly written by lawyers. No offense to lawyers, but it's not for the common person to understand.
They're a different breed.
Exactly. So, it's nice to be doing that. And that's, to me personally, has been super rewarding, because I see, my family they were immigrants when we went to France, and then I was an immigrant when I came here. So to be able to help, that segment of the population has been awesome.
Hey, it's amazing. You had mentioned posting, multiple now English versions and Spanish versions, which is cool. When you say posting, you've been doing some great things online, and it's really cool to see. So tell us, get us up to a little bit of speed on what you've dove into in regards to online presence.
Well, thanks, man. I'm a big fan of what you do here with the podcast, and the influence that you've been able to grow so quickly. And I'm a big believer in social media, right? I'm a big believer in that. That's a great way to reach as many people as we can.
For sure.
So what we've done is not just me, but as a team, my whole team has been, posting some videos in English and in Spanish, talking about everything, talking about misconceptions when it comes to mortgages, talking about new programs, talking about things to do, things to not do. And, we're on social at Team Balentine. You can find us on Instagram, and Edgardo Balentine. You can find me, and follow us. We try to make sure that everything we post is just full of value for whoever is listening. So, every once in a while there's something dumb there, but we try to just make sure that it's full of value.
It's so critical. It's always add value in whatever you can do. And if you continuously do that, definitely yourself and your business will grow. And kudos to the team Balentine. I've met most of them, and super awesome team. And obviously they help make the process streamlined, right?
That's right. Yeah, they do all the hard work. I just talk.
That's funny. So what do you think the most memorable thing in your career is so far, from really switching from kind of the banking side into the mortgage?
I think right now, to me, the biggest thing was when I was able to move, not just to have my own branch, but to purchase my building. And that was kind of like me moving out of my parents' house, if that makes sense, from a business standpoint, where I was able to really do my own thing, buy a building, make it my own, decorate it the way I wanted to, give the client experience that I wanted to give. To me, that was super rewarding, because, I did it thinking of the experience that all the clients are coming into and receiving. And that's probably the coolest thing I've done, and the most impactful for me and my clients.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What would you want to tell your old boss from banking, if you could right now? It doesn't have to be bad or anything.
No.
It's like I was just saying, like
I'm just trying to filter. No,
hey, we've all had those, in the past.
No, I'll tell you the truth. The biggest thing, in my opinion, when it comes to my old bosses is just, and this is something that it's a lesson learned, because it's something that I don't want to do to my team, is you have to work every day and work for your employees too, and make sure that you stay relevant for them. How much value are you giving the people that you work with? And that's something that, you know, at some point I feel like I outgrew whoever I was working for. And I strive every day to, you know, deserve the people that work for me to work for me. I feel like that's not something that, you know, not because I pay them, they should. It's because I need to deserve it with the value I'm giving them.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So,
and that's super powerful. I think a lot of people misunderstand, you know, hiring or building a staff or building a team, however you want to look at it, depending on the business. And they think, oh, well, you just work for me, so you just do this, you know. And it's there's a lot of give and take, and I feel like people abuse that.
yeah, nobody wants that. I mean, and what's crazy about that is a lot of the people that say that are people that went to business to themselves for themselves, so they didn't feel like that.
Right.
And now they're, you know, they're kind of like mirroring what they felt. So
Devil's advocate, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Edgardo, if you're not obviously helping your team grow, running the business, you got a beautiful family. What do you guys like to do?
I'm with my girls on the softball field.
Yeah.
You know, that I think I'm good with the whole, like, I used to play baseball and I'm not like pushing my daughter to, I'm not that crazy dad, at least not on the outside. On the inside, I am, you know. So if I'm not in the office, that's literally, you know, my house is the office. I'm going to my wife's house, which is our house, and we're either
Smart man.
we're either at the house or we're at the field. My daughter she's 14, and I have another daughter that's 6. They both play softball, but one of them is in travel ball right now. So she just made the team, and that's basically what runs the show in the house. I mean, every weekend, like today, I have in my calendar, I have to be home at 6 to do batting practice with my daughter. By the way, my daughter is 12, not 14. If my wife watches this, they're gonna make so much fun of me.
We'll try to edit it. Kobe, again, another edit. That's awesome. That's super fun. Let's talk now a little bit about kind of what's current events. Okay. You know, we've had such a crazy past couple of years, and, you know, things are changing right now. Can you give me a reader's synopsis of like what's going on?
Yeah, man. So the name of the game in mortgages has been, when you turn on the news and all that, has been the rates, right? Like everybody's talking about the rates. Everybody's crazy about how the rates have gone up so fast. And it's true. They've gone up fast, right? So what's driving this is inflation. Inflation is the arch enemy of rates. As inflation goes up, mortgage rates tend to go up. Everybody's paying attention to what the Fed rate is doing. And although that does affect the rate, it's not a direct, it's not directly proportional to what's happening with the mortgage rates. It's how whatever the Fed is doing and is saying, it's affecting inflation. Now, on the other hand, you have home prices, right? You have home prices that went, basically crazy over the past 2 years. And now they're calming down a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, the expectation is for the home prices to continue to go up and for the rates to eventually go down. But this is where I like to focus. And I have bought a lot of real estate in the past year, right? For myself, like investment properties, the commercial building and all of that, because I feel like in these times where there's so much doubt and where the headlines are all crazy, there is a lot of opportunity, right?
100%.
This is the best time for you to be able to buy a house and take advantage of the opportunity that's in the market right now compared to the last year. Yes, it's right that a year ago the rates were lower, but remember how things were 6 months ago where the sellers had 100% a hold in the market. Now it's not like that. So we're doing things like, for example, when you buy a house and you ask for the seller to give you 2% concession or 3% concession where the seller is giving you a credit. Now, there's a lot of offers that are getting accepted like that. So one thing that we're doing with a lot of clients is for every dollar that a seller gives you in credit, that can be equivalent to $5 in a price reduction. So if I have a seller that's giving my client $10,000 in a credit, I can then turn that and make their payment as if it was $50,000 lower than if the actual price was, than the price that it is.
Wow.
So a lot of people are taking advantage of that, and basically they're locking in today's prices with a rate that's much lower because they're using that credit, and we'll refinance them down the road. Because when you look at the market, Fannie just said that the rates are going to be 4.5% next year again. So there's a lot of opportunity, man.
And I remember in 2020 when it first happened, did a virtual Zoom, and Denny Grimes came on, and he's been on the news in different places, and, you know, sold lots and lots of real estate. And I remember specifically, he said, you know, this is the time to pounce. And everyone was scared. Everyone was like, you know, the world is ending. I mean, we're all locked in home. And he literally said, this is the time where you can take market share, right? And if you're not, you're going to lose market share. So get ready to kind of double down in the sense and get after it. And it was so true, you know, and I think same thing's going to happen here. You know, obviously it's plateauing a little bit, but it's all a matter of time.
Yeah, look, when it comes to home prices, and not that, you know, we don't want to make any crazy predictions or anything, but it's right now, it's as simple as availability and how much inventory there is. There's just no inventory.
Simple supply and demand, yeah.
There's just no inventory. And this inventory crisis that we have is not new. This is something that's been happening since the crash. The problem is the pandemic accelerated everything.
Right.
And here in Florida, we have a lot of first-time home buyers, maybe not first-time home buyers ever, but first-time home buyers to the state. So they're selling their houses up north, they're coming in and they're taking from inventory, as opposed to, well, when we look at the nation, you know, numbers, they're selling a house over there, they're buying here, so it's a net zero. But it's not a net zero here in Florida because they're coming in and taking from inventory.
Right.
So the inventory crisis here is real. The builders cannot build fast enough. And we have a lot of people trying to buy homes. So that puts pressure in prices. That's good. And as the rates will, you know, eventually come down, that's going to be great for prices. And the other thing that people don't think aloud too is, well, what's the alternative? The alternative is rent. And rents are very high right now, and they're continuing
extremely high, yeah.
to go up because investors seeing now houses as an asset class. You know, 1 out of every 4 homes in America is bought by an institutional investor. They're buying homes and renting them out. And when they do that, it's to hold them.
Yeah.
So again, I see a ton of opportunity. I feel bad for people that have been priced out of their micro market.
Right.
And my advice to them is just, as tough as it is, just buy where you can, as opposed to being slave to that rent. And when we talk
house
about
poor, right? Where people get too much of a house, and
well, and as you know, when you have a family, for example, even if the rent is the same as your payment on a mortgage, the rent can go up next month. The rent can go up next year. The seller, the owner of the house can sell the house if they want to. When you have a mortgage, you know, that mortgage is a 30-year fix. I mean, you know what your payment is going to be.
Right.
Yeah, there's changes in taxes and insurance, but not as big as what rent can be. So again, I think people are missing the point, and that's where, you know, you come in and we come in and we help people see that opportunity.
Educate them, yeah. And that you're so true. I mean, I'll use it from my personal experience. You know, obviously moving down here a couple of years ago, you know, looking to get into a home now with Clarissa, but the currently
lender,
right? You know, but right now, we're still renting, and they did go up, right? And that's the thing. It's unfortunate. It's crazy market. It's high prices, but it's okay, but my rents went up, and I got a break because I was in there super early and whatnot. But it still went up 23%, and that was an incredible break. I know people that went up 50% or more, which is astronomical, right?
Well, and it's tough because what landlords are listening to is all the money that they could be making on Airbnb and all the money that they could be making on seasonal renting. So again, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity, and let's not even talking about the prices and the actual rent payment or anything, just the lack of stability that you have as a renter. It's tough, especially if you have a family.
You know, it goes back to your point earlier when you said, you know, one of your big moments, memorable moments in your career is kind of stopped paying rent and actually owning the building. You feel that relief off your shoulders, right? And it's the same thing renting in your own personal home from a business standpoint, right? Same thing with people that are living at, your analogy, living at home, right? It's that pressure that someone is over top of you, where when you own, better peace of mind. And let's be real here, the statistics prove it. You know, the stress that you have is going to cause, you know, problems, you know, with your own health and, you know, everything like that. So reducing the stress is you can't put a price point on that, right?
No, absolutely. They have this saying in real estate now, that I think apply perfectly to you. It's like marry the house, date the rate.
I've heard that. I heard that.
I love it.
Yeah.
It makes sense. It's like buy the house, you're with that house forever. The rate, we'll manage it for you. What we're doing for a lot of our clients, believe it or not, is we preemptively, like let's say you close right now, let's just use a round number, 6% rate, right? Well, we can show you what 4% would look like. We can set an alert right now to lock it at 4%. And as soon as the rate, because the rate changes during the day, every single second they're changing, right? Once that rate drops to that 4% that I assigned to you, you get an alert, I get an alert, it gets locked, and it's just a phone call saying, hey, man, that rate is locked at 4, you want to do it? So
that's awesome.
Every time I call you don't have to go like, oh, my God, what is he going to tell me?
Hey, you're going to call me with good news.
That's
You're
right.
back. You went from 6 to 4. You happy about that?
That's right.
Yeah. I'm good about that.
Yeah.
I love it, man. Edgardo, if you can't believe it, we're already out of time. These things fly by. This is an amazing amount of information. I know people will be able to find you. You had mentioned your social media. All their Edgardo's information is also in the publication for people that are receiving the publication. If you're a top agent, you'll meet him at the events. But you can find him online, his website. Everything is going to be also tagged, so you can find his Instagram through our platforms and different things like that. So thank you so much, Edgardo, for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me. Everything is Team Balentine. Balentine is with a B and only one L. We're working on a whiskey that's properly spelled.
Ooh, there we go.
And come check out the office too. We have a
it's
nice
very
pool
cool
table,
office.
and we get some work done. But we have a pool table, ping pong table. It's fun.
All right, deal. We'll sign a piece of paper. You can sign a piece of paper and then shoot a pool game,
There we
right?
go, yeah.
Sign a piece of paper and then shoot your
That's
shot.
how we
right?
do it. Or if I win, you have to do the refinance or the mortgage with me.
Ooh, betting. All right, I like it. I like gambling a little bit. There we go. All right, as always, RP Experience is extremely thrilled to have you on here. We're here at Venture X in the podcast studio. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next episode. Thank you for sharing.